gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages. Welcome to the Scale Model Outlaw. If it's your first time tuning in, we appreciate you, man. Hope you like what you see. And if you do, how about maybe leave me a comment down there in the old comment section? Or how about one of those, yep, here it comes, one of those big old thumbs ups. That's right, we love those big old thumbs ups. Subscribe would be nice. Doesn't cost a dime, we appreciate them. Returning viewers, guys and gals, thank you all so very, very much. We appreciate all y'all. Here we are. You can tell by the thumbnail. ACME or Bust, episode number 2. If you hadn't seen the first video, please go back in the library and check out ACME or Bust, episode number 1. These episodes are kind of long, but we've had some requests to see how we do things, so thought this would be a fine opportunity to show you guys how I do it. Again, doesn't mean it's right, doesn't mean it's wrong, just the way I do it. What we're trying to do is we're trying to go from here with this pacer to here with this pacer. So basically it's going to be a the old 76 pacer that you can actually see in the background over my shoulder there, and we're putting a Viper chassis underneath it, and from there we're going to build it up and have some fun with it. But when we first start out, we're using a different chassis. So this is part 2 of the first chassis that we chose. Now, by the time we get to part 3, we're switching over to the Viper chassis. But this Iceman chassis was really nice. I wanted to use it, but unfortunately, it was going to be too much work for me to try to make that chassis fit on that particular, what I was trying to do. Again, the chassis is awesome. It's a great chassis, but it just didn't work for what I needed. Now, the first part of the video, first video shows us cutting up the interior tub, making room for the front part of the chassis. In this video, you'll see us cutting up the rear part of the tub, or I say tub, but interior is really what it is. But you'll see us cutting up that part of it. It does kind of drag on a little bit. I'm going to do the same thing I did last time, y'all. I will, just ad lib, fast forward. But these videos tend to take a little bit. But according to all the comments that I got, people are liking it. So we're going to keep them coming. Hope y'all enjoy. Enjoy the video, and we'll see you on the backside. Alright, so here we go. Gonna jump right into it. That's right. 2 thumbs up, buddy. Ready to rock and roll. Little review of what we did in the first video. Got that front interior tub cut out, so our chassis will fit down in there nice and low, the way we think we want it. Get as tight to that frame as we tight to that tub as we possibly can. You see where we cut it out? Yeah, I'm showing you there where we cut out that little section right there. Kind of made it like an L-shaped. The frame's got a S-curve in it, so that's why we had to make the L-shape. And further on in the video, you'll see what we did to work that out. But here we are, looking at the back half. Alright, so first things first. Get it lined up there pretty square. Hold it in place. First thing we're going to notice is that it's a little bit too long. So we're going to have to whack that off to be able to get it to sit down inside that tub the way we want it to. And it looks like we got it touching right there as well, so maybe we'll whack the end of it off and get a marker and mark it up where we want it to be. But first and foremost, these things, I always say it, do small bites. If you know it's got to come off, take a little bit off with the saw. Like in this case, we use a photo etch saw from Scale Motorsports. Really cool little saw, works great. We've got our Molotov marker out. We're going to go ahead and mark us a little line on there, one on each side. Gives us a little guide to go by, something to look at. Now with this 3D printed stuff, guys, got to be really, really careful when you're cutting on this or whittling on it. It is great stuff, but it's very, very, very brittle. So support it the best you can. Hold on to it. You'll see here in just a second. I got pressure on it to hold it in place, and pressure on it so it doesn't flex the rest of the chassis. because this stuff is super, super brittle. There's that Scale Motorsports saw, so I'm going to get us a little something to rest this thing on so it doesn't just, not trying to cut out in open air. So we got our little fittings box here. Now I can lay it up there, and you see where I got my finger, right, my pointer finger on my left hand. Yeah, I want to be as close to where I'm cutting to hold that thing as still as possible. You don't want it flexing. And we kind of kicked it into hyper mode here. It's going really fast, but that's only because I fast forwarded it. Take your time with this part. You can fast forward it later in the video like I did, but when you're cutting it, I mean, honest to God, guys, I probably took 15 minutes to cut all that off, and it's really just 2 little cuts. But I try to make sure to take my time, go nice and easy, so as not to break anything else. Because that stuff is very, very brittle, man. Very brittle. Super detailed. Good stuff. But you got to be very careful with it. Because you can snap it before quick. See, there we go. We got the back half cut off. So now it's not going to be, excuse me, now it's not going to be too long. We'll grab a little bit of sandpaper here and kind of knock the edges off of it. And if I'm not mistaken, wait a minute, why am I using this old crappy sandpaper? I got some good stuff right here. Where is it? Gotta find it. What did I do with it? And come on, you can find it, Michael. There it is, the icky sticky stuff. Again, want to give a big shout out to Ed at Ed's Hobbies in RC. He hooked me up with these icky sticky pads, and really enjoy them, man. They're great stuff. So we got a 240, and we're going to go ahead and do some scuffing. Again, like I said, I like to cut it long, leave the material there, and then creep up on it. So basically take a little bit at a time. Because it's funny how things will change when they start getting closer and tighter and getting into where they need to be. Where you thought you needed to get rid of half an inch or, a fraction of an inch, it just gets smaller and smaller. So little bites. Little bites. Alright, so now we're going to lay it up in there. We know now that it's short enough to fit in there, so we see next what's hitting. And it's going to be right there. We'll get the pen here in just a minute, but there's 2 frame horns on the back of that bumper that actually were very, very close to lining up. So I was trying to see if I could maybe make those line up, but didn't. I mean, like I said, we end up switching these chassis out anyway, but I like keeping this in here because it shows a lot of the different ways to do stuff. So see, we got it lined up nice and square, and it fits behind the bumper, so we know that's going to work. Now we just got to see where the rails are hitting so we can tuck it up a little bit. We get our pen out here, we'll see where them rails are hitting. And again, I know at this point that I'm going to have to take out more than what I'm marking right now. But I've learned a lesson. Take it out a little at a time as it needs it, because if you get carried away, you'll end up with a way bigger hole than what you needed. And you can put it back with putty, but it's a lot of work. So I try to get it in there as close and tight as I possibly can. Now, what am I going to use for a tool? Pretty sure I'm going to use the Despe tool on this one. Despe tool, that one right there, that's got a head on it, or you can get a head for it, that is square. So it'll actually make a square hole if you put it in there right. It basically doesn't have a tip. It's round, but it doesn't have a tip on it. It's flat. So if you hold it at the right angle, it'll make you a square hole. We're gonna go ahead and, again, I got it on fast forward here, but we're gonna cut out them channels and get that frame to drop down in there just a little bit more, and we'll get to working on it. But there's really, I mean, there's just doing it and doing it and doing it. But like I said, if it's your first time, just go slow, take your time. The old cliche, measure twice and cut once. Well, measure 10 times and cut once, and still be prepared to put it back with putty. But again, that desk spray tool is my favorite tool. I use it on, and it's like that old hot sauce commercial. I use that thing on everything. It works really well, especially for detail stuff, like getting close to things. It doesn't have enough, doesn't have enough torque to really rip anything apart, but yet it's fast enough and small enough to where you can handle it and get in where you need to get in and do what you need to do. How you liking all the background noise between my air compressor and my phone? You guys are getting a whole shooting match here. Again, high speed. I am not moving that fast. Be careful with your X-Acto blades. We all know what they can do. But I put it in high speed mode because you don't want to sit there and watch me whittle on that thing. This scratch building or this customization stuff, it takes a long time. This was, when I first started out, this was not counting the intros and the outros and all that. This video was over 45 minutes long. So between the fast forwarding and editing some stuff out that didn't matter, we got it down to a little less than 30 minutes. It's hard to stay focused on these videos for that long. I know it is because I have the same issue. But we've been getting a lot of compliments and a lot of people enjoying it. So if you like their longer version stuff or you're following along and enjoying it, please leave me a comment down there. Give me one of those big old thumbs ups. It helps a lot with the old algorithm and getting this stuff out there to everybody. So please, if you're watching it and you're enjoying it, let me know. We're going to continue to do it, even no matter what, but we're going to continue to do it with this one. And, we got a lot going on. I feel like there's a lot of stuff in here that somebody might learn something even. I don't know. And if nothing else, you can laugh at me about the way I do it because it doesn't make any sense, but it's the way I do it. All right, here we go. We'll put our frame back in there, see what kind of clearances we got, see if we need to open it up some more. Check it out, take a look. That frame tucked up underneath there pretty good. I feel like you probably need to open it up just a little bit more. Maybe not. Got the thumbs up, so we'll see what happens. Beautiful chassis, though. Beautiful chassis. The holes in the chassis are for the exhaust, and it fits the correct size solder down through there, or the the tubing, so you can make your custom exhaust and run it right through the frame. That's a pretty cool thought when they were designing that, to be able to run that through there. And there's in the front, there's another one right behind the right about where the transmission goes, one of the cross members, and it too has holes in it, so you can be able to run your exhaust all the way back. I thought that was really neat. No, Michael, that's not how it goes. There you go. I don't know if I was tired that day or what, but I tried to put that frame on backwards. But it is, guys. You just get it in there, whittle a little bit, put it up there and look. Whittle a little bit, see where it's touching, see where it's not right, and just back and forth, back and forth. It's a time-consuming process, especially when you find out later on that you're not going to use the chassis. It's kind of aggravating, but it is what it is. But what happens in the end, and we'll get to it probably in the next video, but I get one of my tires, and I go to put my tire in there, and I realize that thing's got to go up to way up, and it's just not going to do it. So that's why we ended up switching the chassis. But that and the frame is exposed. See there at the bottom of you can see the gray of the 3D printed frame. I did not want that frame showing. But at this time, I'm so excited and so focused on trying to make it fit in there, I hadn't noticed it yet. So I'm just like whittling and hacking and trying to make it fit up in there. But after a while, like I said, when I got that tire and realized where the tire had to be to get the stance that I wanted, I knew that chassis was never going to work. So there we are. Yep, we poked out our square holes for that chassis to fit down in there. We got the 2 holes up front. And pretty sure now we're going to slide over to this putty side. And yep, there we are. There's our 3M putty. Stuff works amazing. Love this stuff. Dries pretty fast. I didn't give it enough time to dry to do what I wanted to do here, but stuff works really, really well. Very sandable, very paintable. You can see here that I take a little piece of masking tape, put it down on my bench. Once I can peel it back with my no fingernail self, I'll tear off a little piece like that, put it down there, and then put me a smear of that stuff, and then start getting my toothpicks out. The long and short with this stuff is when you put it on the, you put it on the little piece of tape, mix it up. You take your toothpick, mix it up, and put it where you're wanting to put it on your car. And we're going to do that in just a second. You'll see me mixing it up here. And I thought I edited out all the silly stuff. I should have edited that part out. I guess I'm hunting my toothpicks now. Oh, there. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and stir it up. You don't want it to harden on the tape is what I'm getting at. You want it to be pretty soft and pliable when you put it on. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and fill in that hole that we just got out. But we're going to go ahead and fill it in because we got a plan. Alright. So now once you get it over to here, you can clean it up a little bit while it's still wet because you're going to smoosh that stuff everywhere. But I like to take my little toothpick and I'll clean up the heavies. But we want it to dry, but not completely dry. So we can come along. Once it gets to like a Play-Doh texture, and it will, you can take that frame chassis and lay it down in there, and it'll leave the impression of the chassis, just like the front, in there. And but if you do it too early, it'll stick to it, and if you do it too late, then it's already too hard. So you gotta kind of watch it, keep an eye on it, and work it. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I think in the video I was trying to go too fast, and I didn't give it enough time. It ended up working out, but I think I didn't give it near enough time. You notice that little blip right there. I edited it out about 10 minutes. And it's only been sitting on there for about 10 minutes, and I don't think it's enough because when I go to pop it back off, it's still stuck somewhat to the frame rail. And so I didn't quite give it enough time. But again, the idea is to let it get to that putty status, to where it's like Play-Doh. Then when you pull the chassis back out, it'll leave the groove where the frame was. Then you come back with you let it harden completely, and come back with your sandpaper and sand it down and get all the other stuff off that doesn't need to be there, and then that groove will be all part of the bodywork. It leaves that impression in there, and it works very, very well when you do it right. In fact, unfortunately, and you'll probably see it in the next video, but unfortunately, the front one, I did a lot of work on it and got it filled in and sanded down and looking perfect. And of course, we ended up not using that chassis, and I had to fill it all back in and put it back the way it was. But hey, that's what happens, right? That's why it's called building, not assembling. And again, if you're an assembler, I'm not mad. I'm just saying this is building. I don't know if it's scratch work because those guys are super talented, but it's definitely building. We're building some stuff here. See how that play? Yeah, see, it didn't quite let it sit long enough. But I can still see that the template for it's still there, right? I can still see where it needs to be. Doesn't show up very well on the camera, but I can see it, so I know I'm trying to work it a little bit and get it to where I want it to be, so when it dries, it'll be perfect. Sorry about that. I had to get a drink. But yeah, here we are. We're getting there now, right? It's starting to harden up. Things are starting to lay out like they're supposed to. And like I said, once we get it all in there, if I didn't want it to be so low to the ground, that chassis would have been absolutely amazing for it. But I just wanted to get it lower. See, you can still see I got some on that chassis. So that just tells me it's still a little wet. I need to let it dry up a little bit. But now I use toothpicks, and I got these. I don't know what they're called, but this particular stick happened to be the same width as that chassis was at the end of it. So I was like, yee! Look at that! Made it work. See there, I'm even excited. But without having that frame to lay it in there and that stuff being like Play-Doh, I wouldn't have known where to put them. But that just happened to work out. That doesn't happen like that every time, but that worked out pretty cool. But again, once that hardened up, we sand it down and sand it flat with the body. The grooves are there, but the most of the putty's gone, so it worked out real well. Now we're going to go ahead and move to the front. This is going to require a bunch more putty because those holes are much bigger. But then we'll smother it on there and stir it up. Yeah, I stir it. Give it just a little bit. I don't want it to set up on my tape, but at the same time, I don't want it to be super liquidy either. So I'm just looking for a texture that I'm familiar with. And after you do it, everybody has a little bit different flavors or different, ideas. And after you work with it a little bit, you'll know where you want it. But there we go. We're smothering. Again, I'm not afraid to smother this stuff in there and get it thick, knowing that I'm going to come back with my sandpaper later on and knock it down. But I'll put it in there really heavy. And sometimes, like with the toothpick, come back and get the heavies off that way. Or let it get it to where it's not quite the Play-Doh, but not hard either. And, get some of it off that way. But I'm always of the mind that I can take more out. I can't put more in. Or it's a lot easier in this case to take it out than it is to put it in. But it sets up relatively quick. This 3M acrylic putty. It's for automotive use. It's really good stuff. I enjoy it, and I work with it a lot. That and dolphin skin. Dolphin skin's a really good product. It's a little bit thinner. I don't use it for filling big holes. I use it for the little pinholes and small holes like that, little thin gaps. It works really well with it. That's a two-part product where you have to add the hardener. So that's another thing that you figure out. As far as the hardener goes, obviously the more hardener you put in it, the faster it hardens up, the slower. But there we are. We're going to gop. Look at this, gop it in there, buddy. Just spooge it all up in there. Fill in that hole. Get it all just black. Get it all green. It's good stuff, man. I really do like it. And like I said, come back with my toothpick. And there was a little edit in there. There's probably 5 minutes I let it sit before I come. Maybe not quite 5 minutes. 3 to 5 minutes I let it sit before I came back and started adding more. And you can stack on top of that stuff. So even if it's hard, you can add more to it that way. But see, I didn't give that stuff near enough time for that chassis to be going in there. I know it's going to stick to it. But again, I'm trying to get through it, for the video. I wish the camera showed it better, but as we're looking at it, the right side actually came out really nice. The left side, not so much because it was more putty, right? It wasn't as dry as the other side. But that left side came out, our right side, as we're looking at it, came out perfect. And even later on, when I was able to sand it down, we nailed it on the first go. So that was cool. But that side's still a little wet. You see, I have to mess with it and try to get it to lay back down. But it works. You get the idea of what I'm talking about. Try it and practice with it and see how you like it, man. It works really well for me when I'm actually working on it and not trying to make a video. It actually gets to work pretty well. But it's I don't know of other products that you can do it with. I'm sure there's some out there. I like to use automotive putties just because I've had a problem with you screw up the paint and then you soak it off, and next thing you know, there goes all your body work. But I definitely don't like doing that because body work takes so much time. If I have to screw up the paint, then so be it. But all right, man, looks like we're getting towards the end of it. We'll get two big old thumbs up here in a minute. So, but I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Hope you liked it. Stick around for the outro. Y'all be good, and we'll see you on the other side. So there you have it. Episode number 2 of Acme or Bust 2026. Really like that acrylic putty. Stuff works well. I don't think I let it sit up enough. But if you let that stuff sit just right, and you need to, lay that frame down in there like I did, and leave an impression in there. It's like I said, it's like Play-Doh. Once you get it just right, you lay it in there, you pull it back out, the impression's there, you can sand all the way around it, and it looks great. Also, forgot to shout out my good friend Tim Casper for the rendering of the Pacer X early on in the video. That drawing was done by Tim Casper, and I want to give him a big old thumbs up. He did that for me, and I definitely appreciate it. Alright guys, so next time it'll be episode 3. Pretty sure on episode 3 is when we start working on the Viper chassis. I think we play with this one just a little bit more, and then we switch over to the Viper chassis, and we really get to hacking and whacking when we get that thing going. So we hope you guys are enjoying these little bit longer videos, and we're definitely having a good time putting them out. Y'all be sure and check out our show on Sundays. Myself, Jason Hanscom, Justin Ryan, Tim Ryan. It's Justin Ryan and Tim Ryan. And, of course, Jody Doyle and myself from 4 to 6 p.m. You can find us on my channel, Scale Model Outlaw, or you can find us on on Jason's channel, the Blue Ox Model Shop. You guys keep your eyes out. We will be doing the next podcast pretty quick, the Carmania podcast. So keep your eyes and ears out for that, and we'll be sure to announce it as well on the shows and let you guys know what's going on. And we have a Facebook for myself, which is Scale Model Outlaw. We have one for the Saturday Night Short Track group build, so if you guys are involved in that, myself and Jason Hanscom are a part of it. We have a podcast, or we have a Facebook channel for the podcast as well. So you guys just come in wherever you can find us. Come on in, hang out, have some fun. We do have a Discord as well, so if you're familiar with Discord, come on in there, hang out with us. We'll get to see you and talk to you. But as always, guys, be kind to each other, be safe, and keep on modeling.